Welcome to the Betrayed Michael channel. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We talk about truth, betrayal, and bouncing back stronger. My name's Michael Carter, and for the past 17 years, I genuinely believed I was just your average blue-collar dad and devoted husband, grinding through life the best I knew how. I was married to Jennifer, and together we had a daughter, Amy, who just turned 16. Every single morning, I'd haul myself out of bed before the sun even thought about rising, and drag my bones to the local auto plant, where I worked as a mechanical engineer down on the factory floor. My job? Making sure everything ran smooth, machines stayed humming, production numbers were met, and nobody had to shut down the line because something broke down. I always figured that if I kept a good roof over our heads, kept the lights on, and was there whenever Amy needed me, then I was doing all right. I thought I was nailing this whole husband and father thing. Turns out, none of that means a damn thing when your wife decides she's done. It all unraveled one unusually warm afternoon in March. I was smack in the middle of my shift, elbows deep in grease trying to sort out a busted piece of machinery, when I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I expected it to be a spam text or maybe Amy needing a ride, but when I looked, the name flashing across the screen stopped me cold: Brian, our next-door neighbor. Brian never calls during the week. Especially not when I'm at work. Something had to be wrong. I hit answer and pressed the phone to my ear, still fiddling with the machine. "Yeah?" I said, not bothering to hide the impatience in my voice. His voice came through tight and anxious. "Michael, man, you need to get home. Right now." My hands froze. My gut knotted up like it already knew what was coming. "What's going on?" I asked. He was breathing like he'd just sprinted across town. "There's a moving truck out front. Couple guys are hauling furniture out of your house. And Jennifer, she's out there too, directing them." My fingers clenched tighter around the phone until my knuckles went pale. "A moving truck? Are you sure this isn't some kind of robbery or?" "I don't think this is a break-in," he muttered. "She's out there waving her arms around, pointing at tables and chairs like she's the foreman." Heat surged through my chest. My wife, Jennifer, was clearing out our home in the middle of the day? "Where's Amy?" I barked. "Have you seen my daughter?" "Nope. Just Jennifer." My stomach flipped. My brain spiraled into panic mode, running through every worst-case scenario it could conjure. Robbery? Fleeing the marriage? Was Amy okay? "Stay on the line, Brian," I said, my voice steel now. "I'm leaving work. If anything changes or the cops show up, let them know I'm coming." I ended the call and took off, not even bothering to wipe the grease off my arms. My boots clomped hard on the concrete as I marched straight for my boss's office. Didn't knock. Just pushed the door open and blurted, "Sir, I need to go. Something's happening at my house." He looked at me, eyebrows high. "You better have one hell of a reason to barge in like this, Michael. There's a moving van in my driveway, and my neighbor says they're hauling out all my stuff. I have no idea what's going on, but I have to go, now." His face relaxed just a little. "Fine. Don't waste time." I bolted out of there, keys jingling as I sprinted to my car. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might punch through my chest. I didn't want to believe Jennifer was behind something like this, but Brian wasn't the kind of guy to exaggerate. If he said a van was there, it damn well was. As I screeched out of the parking lot, tires screaming, my brain started playing a horror reel of what could be happening. Divorce? She's running off with some guy. Who does that without even leaving a damn note? Thing is, we never had any big fights. No real talk about separation. Yeah, we bickered from time to time, but after almost 2 decades together, who doesn't? I hit our street faster than I probably should have. And the moment I laid eyes on that giant white moving truck in my driveway, my hands clamped around the steering wheel tight enough to snap it in two. A sick mix of anger and confusion churned in my gut. I slammed the car into park and jumped out, practically sprinting across the yard toward the strangers unloading my life. Two guys were hauling my coffee table out like it was theirs, and a third one, tall, wiry, arms crossed, stood there barking out directions like he owned the place. "Hey!" I yelled, stomping right up to him. "Put that stuff down. Now." He barely gave me a glance. Didn't even flinch. "Mind your own business, pal," he muttered, like I was the one trespassing on his property. That was it. That was the spark that blew the lid off. Before I could even think, I let my fist fly and cracked him right in the jaw. The guy stumbled back, arms flailing, before hitting the pavement with a hard thud. He groaned in pain, but I couldn't stop myself. The rage had taken the wheel. That was my furniture. My house. My life. Who the hell did he think he was, just showing up and ripping it all away? The guy tried scrambling to his feet, shielding his face with both arms like I was raining down bricks. I didn't even think, I grabbed him by the collar, yanking him upright. "You think you can just waltz into my life and start swiping my stuff in broad daylight?" I shouted, slamming my fist into his face again. Another hit caught him on the shoulder, sending him stumbling. He let out a sharp cry, legs wobbling like he was gonna collapse. While he fumbled to protect himself, I dug into my pocket for my phone, hands shaking from the adrenaline storm raging in my veins. I punched in 911, except in my fury, I somehow managed to mistype it as 991. Didn't matter. I corrected it, heart thundering, and finally got through. The operator was calm, cool. 911, what's your emergency? Police, I snarled. I've got a damn thief in front of me right now. She started to say something about going back inside and waiting safely, but I cut her off before she could finish. I can handle myself. And with that, I hung up, knuckles still clenched so tight I could feel the blood draining from them. Then I heard it, Jennifer's voice slicing through the chaos like a whip. "Michael! What the hell are you doing?" I spun around, pulse hammering in my ears, and there she was, running across the driveway, hair flying, face pale with panic. She shoved me off the man, who was now curled on the ground, holding his face. She dropped to her knees beside him, trembling as she touched his cheek. Blood was trickling from his nose, and a nasty purple welt had already started to bloom across his jaw. "Oh my God, Stephen. Just stay still, okay?" My breath caught like I'd been sucker punched. "Stephen? Who the hell is Stephen?" Her eyes lit up with fury, like I was the one in the wrong. "He's my boyfriend, all right? You didn't have to beat him like some street thug." Boyfriend. The word hit me like a crowbar to the chest. In 1 second, everything I thought I knew crumbled. 17 years of marriage. A daughter. A quiet, decent life. All flushed down the drain, and now she had a boyfriend? Stephen groaned from the pavement, clutching his ribs. "Damn it," he coughed, sounding like a deflated balloon. For a moment, I couldn't even talk. Couldn't breathe. Then, fury lit the fuse again. "You're my wife," I barked, pointing at her. "And you're sneaking around with this guy in my house?" I turned and delivered a solid kick right to his groin. He curled up like a bug, gasping and wheezing. Jennifer screamed. "Michael, stop. You're gonna kill him." But I didn't care. That wasn't a man lying there, it was the symbol of every betrayal, every lie, every damn night she snuck around behind my back. I kicked him again, hard enough to draw another groan from his lips. Meanwhile, the two movers near the truck didn't lift a finger. Just stood there with arms crossed, like this was the best show they'd seen all week. Then came the sirens, loud, slicing through the neighborhood like banshees. A moment later, police cruisers skidded to a halt, tires squealing. Two cops jumped out, guns holstered but hands twitchy. One of them, a tall brick of a man, stepped between me and Stephen. "Step back, sir," he ordered, shoving a firm hand against my chest. I was breathing like a bull, fists still raised, and for a second, I damn near pushed past him. But common sense finally caught up. I took a step back, glaring at the groaning heap of a man on the driveway. "I'm the one who called," I said through clenched teeth. "These people are stealing from me." The cop turned to Jennifer, who was still crouched next to her whimpering boyfriend. "Ma'am," he said, "can you tell me what's going on here?" She stood up slowly, wiping tears from her cheeks, though I couldn't tell if it was guilt, panic, or just the fallout of getting caught. "This is Stephen Anderson," she said shakily. "He's my boyfriend. We're just moving some of my stuff out of the house, that's all." I clenched my jaw so tight I thought my molars might shatter. "Belongings you own?" the officer asked, narrowing his eyes. "Ma'am, have you filed for divorce or any kind of legal separation yet?" Jennifer froze. Eyes darted sideways. "Not a word." "That's what I thought," he said. "You can't just start clearing out furniture without a legal agreement in place. Technically, your husband could press theft charges." She swallowed hard and glanced back at the truck like she was just now realizing she might have stepped into something bigger than she thought. And honestly, that gave me a little jolt of satisfaction. She thought she could sneak off and gut our life without consequences? Not today. "Do you have any documentation that gives you permission to take anything out of this house?" the cop asked, folding his arms. She shook her head. "No, but come on, we've been married 17 years. I have every right." He cut her off with a glare. "Doesn't matter. Without a legal ruling, you don't get to grab whatever you feel like. If Mr. Carter decides to press charges, we'll have to act on it. Otherwise, we're standing here until you've packed up only your personal clothing. Got it?" Her face twisted with frustration before she snapped, "That's bull. He should be the one leaving. He's always been a controlling jerk. I deserve that house." My chest clenched with fresh fury. "That house was gifted by my mother, Jennifer. You don't have a single legal claim to it." Her voice pitched up, practically shrieking now. "Screw you, Michael. I raised Amy in that house. Cleaned every inch of it. Gave you the best damn years of my life. That place is mine too." The officer had had enough. "Ma'am," he said sharply, "it's not your house if the deed's in someone else's name. If you can't follow the law, we'll have no choice but to file charges. Are we clear?" Jennifer shot the officer a glare, her eyes glossy with frustrated tears. Then she spun on the movers and barked, "Fine. Put everything back." The guys threw up their hands like they were surrendering to a hostage situation and stepped off the truck. They started hauling furniture back inside, still smirking like this whole train wreck was better than daytime TV. The officer turned to me. "You want to press charges, or you just want them gone?" I didn't hesitate. "Just get her outta here," I said flatly. "I don't care where she goes. As long as she doesn't come back." Jennifer shot me a look, maybe it was heartbreak, maybe betrayal. But I couldn't feel anything anymore. Whatever we had, it was gone, and I'd gone numb. She stomped into the house to grab her things while I stood watch, arms crossed, keeping one eye on Stephen, who was slowly trying to stand up. His lip was split, blood dotted his chin, and a bruise was already spreading under one eye. For a second, just a flicker, I felt bad for the guy. Then I remembered the smug way he'd been giving orders earlier, like my home was some storage locker he'd rented, and just like that, the pity vanished. About 10 minutes later, Jennifer came storming back to the door, dragging 2 suitcases behind her. I raised a hand. "Hold up. Open, Em." She stopped dead, eyes blazing. Are you serious, Michael? You think I'm stealing now? I just shrugged, not the least bit sorry. A couple of the movers snorted, like this was getting more entertaining by the second. The officer sighed. Ma'am, just unzip them. She yanked open the first bag and shoved the flap wide. Clothes. Shoes. Then I saw it, my laptop, half hidden under a sweater. I snatched it out. What the hell is this doing in your bag? Her lips tightened. I need it. I've got files on there. Sure you do, I muttered, yanking out the charger too and tossing it onto the floor. If you want a laptop, ask your new boyfriend to buy you one. You're not taking mine. Stephen was slumped against the side of the moving van, holding his ribs like every breath cost him $50. I heard him mumble, Jesus, Jennifer, let's just go. She glared at me one more time, then turned and marched down the driveway, yanking her luggage behind her. The cops watched her like hawks to make sure nothing else got taken. I just stood there, watching it all play out, heart racing with anger, humiliation, and maybe the tiniest bit of cold satisfaction that she didn't get away with looting my home. Stephen limped after her, one arm hugging his bruised ribs, the other dragging a bag like some sad afterthought. Once the truck pulled away and the cruisers disappeared down the block, the whole street sank into this thick, uncomfortable silence. I walked back into the house, and it hit me all at once. The living room looked like it had been ransacked, tables dragged halfway across the floor, scuff marks everywhere, chairs out of place, boxes left half open. The whole place reeked of sweat and tension. That's when the full weight of it crashed down on me. Jennifer was gone. She'd walked out on me. She had a damn boyfriend. She tried to take half the house with her, and left me standing in the wreckage of the life I'd built. I tried to clean up, but my hands were shaking so bad from the anger I couldn't do much. Eventually, I just dropped onto the couch like a sack of bricks, elbows on my knees, head in my hands. How long had she been cheating? How many times had she smiled at me with that same damn face while lying straight through her teeth? One thing still held me together, Amy. She was mine. She'd understand, right? She'd be on my side. But about an hour later, I heard the front door creak open. I looked up and saw her, Amy, standing there with her school bag slung over one shoulder. She froze, eyes scanning the room. Furniture half moved, footprints on the tile, boxes scattered like a storm rolled through. Dad? She asked, wide-eyed. What the hell happened in here? I sighed and rubbed my temples. Sit down, I said, my voice low and tight. She dropped her bag on the floor and sat, eyes locked on me. I studied her face, searching for something, shock, sadness, anything. Finally, I said, your mother left. She ran off with that boyfriend of hers. She stared at me, silent. Then, shrugged. Oh, you mean Stephen? My stomach twisted. You know him? She nodded and fiddled with her bag strap. Yeah, Mom introduced us a while ago. Said he was her first love or something. They dated back in the day before he moved out of the country. Guess he's back now. I blinked, my mind reeling. And you never thought to tell me? Another shrug. She said it was her business. Told me not to get you involved. I wanted her to be happy. You two were never that lovey-dovey anyway. That last part hit harder than anything Stephen could have done. Like nothing I'd ever done meant a damn thing. All the years I'd driven her to practice, sat through every recital, took her to Sunday breakfasts, and it was all meaningless. I swallowed hard, trying to keep the rage in check. So you think that excuses her sneaking around? Lying? Trying to rob me blind? Amy's jaw tightened. She wasn't robbing you. She was just taking what she earned. Honestly, Dad, you've always tried to control everything. Mom told me how you hold the house over her since it's your mom's. How you keep all the money separate. How you criticize everything she buys. I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, did she also tell you I pay every bill on time? That I dropped thousands on your activities while wearing the same pair of steel toes for 3 damn years? She pressed her lips together, but didn't back down. Still. Mom deserves to be with someone she loves. I stared at her, pulse hammering in my ears. My own daughter, telling me I was nothing more than a roadblock to her mother's happiness. I smiled. But it wasn't warm. It was the kind of smile that could cut glass. Fine, I said. If she's so in love, she can have him. You can have them both. Amy's eyes narrowed. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Amy snapped. I stood up, heading straight for the liquor cabinet like it was the only thing in the house that still understood me. It means, I said, grabbing a bottle of whiskey and twisting the cap off, that nobody in this damn family ever gave a real damn about me. So why should I keep pretending to be the loyal husband or the ever-available dad? I poured a heavy shot and threw it back in one rough swallow. It burned all the way down, but I welcomed the pain. From now on, I do things my way. Amy just stood there, watching me like I was some stranger who'd broken into the house. What are you gonna do? I slammed the empty glass onto the counter. The sharp crack echoed in the silence like a warning shot. Exactly what any man with a shred of dignity would do after getting stabbed in the back. I'm cutting ties. Guarding what's mine. And letting the rest of you figure out if you can sink or swim. Her expression shifted, uncertainty creeping in. That's cold, Dad. I let out a dry, bitter laugh. Is it? Funny how you weren't too worried about being cold when you stood there defending your mom like she was a saint and I was the villain. Amy folded her arms, her voice going flat. Look, I'm just being honest. Mom says she finally found someone she actually loves. She told me you two were never really in love. That you just stayed out of convenience. She shrugged again, like none of this was a big deal. She wants to be happy. Who am I to stop her? My chest lit up with that familiar heat again, the kind that comes just before you explode. Fine, I muttered, turning my back on her. Then go. Go be Steven's little stepdaughter. I don't give a damn. I'm done pretending I care. She didn't respond. Just stood there for a second, then turned and stomped off to her room. The door slammed like a gunshot behind her. And I stood there alone, just me, my whiskey, and the realization that everything I thought was solid in my life had collapsed in a single godforsaken day. Sleep didn't come that night. My brain just kept running laps, every lie, every betrayal, every shrug from my own daughter. By morning, I had a plan. I left early and drove straight to my divorce lawyer. A no-nonsense guy named Ron Jeremy. Yeah, weird name, but the man was a damn pit bull in court. When I told him everything, Jennifer's little furniture heist, the mystery boyfriend, the whole circus, he let out a low whistle, then chuckled. Oh man, he said. This'll be a slam dunk. She's got no legal ground to stand on. I leaned in across his desk. I want this fast. Clean. And brutal. I don't want to give her a cent more than what the law requires. If she thinks she's got something better, let Steven foot the bill. Ron nodded and started scribbling notes. What about custody? My jaw tightened. Give her full custody of Amy. She's already made her choice. Ron raised an eyebrow. You sure? Judges usually don't love it when a dad gives up custody. I'm sure, I snapped. She wants her mother. Let her have her. I'll pay what I have to until she turns 18. That's it. No more pretending to be the doting dad when the kid looks at me like I'm a stranger. He nodded again, still jotting things down. All right. Just know, it might get messy. Judges don't always take kindly to fathers stepping away. I chuckled bitterly. I don't give a damn what the judge thinks. Let's get it done. From there, I moved fast. First stop, the bank. I drained the joint account and left behind $2. Symbolic. Far as I was concerned, that's exactly what she contributed. Then I hit up HR at the factory. Took her off my insurance. Cut her from my pension beneficiary list. Every signature felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Cold, clean, and necessary. 2 days later, she got served at work. The call came in soon after. Her voice was trembling with rage. "Michael, how dare you?" I leaned back in my office chair, calm as ever. Dare what, exactly? Dare to take back what's mine? You emptied the account. You removed me from your insurance. Your name, I said slowly, never should have been on any of it to begin with. You're insane if you think I'm not getting half of everything. That's how the law works, genius. I smirked. We earn the same, Jennifer. You're not getting alimony, and I sure as hell won't either. Oh, and your little moving day stunt? On record. Witnessed. Cops involved. That's theft. She went quiet, and I could practically hear the gears turning as she realized she'd played her hand too soon. Then, the predictable line, "This isn't fair. I was your wife. You owe me." I laughed, sharp and cold. Let Stephen cover what I owe you. Her breathing got ragged. You bastard. I ended the call with a grin. She was just starting to understand that I wasn't the one who got left behind. Then came the court day, and man, it was electric. Jennifer walked in like she was about to win a beauty pageant and $1 million. At her side was her lawyer, a sleek, overconfident woman named Elsa Jean, the kind who strutted into court like she was auditioning for Law and Order. My client, she announced with a theatrical flourish, is entitled to half of all marital assets. 17 years of marriage, Your Honor. But Ron didn't even blink. Cool as ever, he stepped forward and said, Your Honor, the spouse in question attempted to unlawfully remove marital property before filing any legal paperwork. Police report is on file. She refused to split her 401k or savings, Ron said coolly, so if we're dividing everything, it cuts both ways. The judge peered down at Jennifer with a frown that could sour milk. Ma'am, do you have any legal reason to believe you're entitled to alimony? Elsa Jean, ever the performer, launched into a word salad about Jennifer's contributions as a mother, her emotional investment, and the sanctity of 17 years of marriage. But Ron wasn't having it. He cut through her speech like a buzzsaw, pointing out Jennifer's full-time job, her comparable salary, and, most damning, the police report from the day she tried to gut my house without even filing for divorce. Then came the part everyone was holding their breath for, custody. Elsa Jean lifted her chin. We believe it's in the child's best interest to remain with Mrs. Carter. Ron raised a hand. Actually, my client is prepared to forfeit full custody. He's only requesting standard child support. No visitation. That hit like a slap across the room. Even from my side of the courtroom, I saw Amy's face fall, her eyes going wide with tears. She stood up, trembling. Dad, you're just letting me go? I didn't turn to look at her. Couldn't. My voice came out stiff and low. Yes. It's what you and your mom wanted, right? She gasped, her whole body shaking. Dad, The judge, to his credit, asked if she wanted to speak. She stepped forward, voice cracking, and started sobbing, saying she didn't mean for it to go this far, that she only wanted her mom to be happy, not to lose her dad in the process. Ron, cold and exact, launched into a line of questioning that stripped the illusion away. He walked her right into the truth, that she'd taken sides, shut me out, and hadn't once asked how I felt during any of it. By the end, Amy was sobbing, voice breaking, "I'm sorry, Dad. Please, don't leave me." But I'd made my choice. And I stuck to it. The judge, clearly sick of the emotional soap opera, finalized the divorce almost immediately. No alimony, our incomes were too close for that. I was ordered to pay child support until Amy turned 18. That was it. He banged the gavel. Done. Outside the courtroom, Amy was in shambles, crying uncontrollably. Jennifer wouldn't even look at me. Her face was pale, confused, furious all at once. And Stephen? He didn't even show up. Guess her knight in shining armor had better things to do. That detail gave me a cold, grim kind of pleasure. I walked out of that courthouse without looking back. Amy called after me, her voice raw. But I kept walking. It felt like ripping out my own heart, but I reminded myself, she made her bed. Let her lie in it. Weeks passed. My mother, Brenda Carter, eventually took Amy in after Jennifer decided she couldn't handle parenting full-time. Too busy chasing Stephen, working, or just not showing up. I saw Amy from time to time, but I kept things distant. Cold. She'd cry sometimes. "Dad, please, can I live with you again?" And every time, I gave the same answer. Not yet. Because I wanted her to feel it. To know what it was like to be pushed aside. Sometimes the only way to stand on solid ground is to burn the bridge behind you. Then, one day, everything changed again. Amy burst into my house in tears, mascara streaked down her cheeks. "Dad, Stephen beat Mom." I blinked. "What?" "She's in the hospital. He's in jail. Charged with assault." I stared at her a long moment, then, laughed. Not out of joy, just bitter disbelief. "Well," I said, "didn't expect it this soon, but I can't say I'm surprised. I lived with your mother for 17 years. She could drive a monk to violence." Amy just looked at me, stunned. Like she didn't recognize who I'd become. I shrugged. "Sorry, kid. I'm fresh out of sympathy." For a while, that was it. Jennifer recovered slowly. I never visited. Heard the details secondhand from Amy. She left the hospital banged up physically and mentally. Stephen's bail hearing didn't go well. Word was he stayed locked up. And me? I moved forward. Ruthlessly. I started dating a woman from work named Sharon. No-nonsense type. Liked my rough edges. We'd grab drinks, laugh, keep it casual. No illusions. No lies. Jennifer tried drifting back into Amy's life, apologies, promises, the usual routine. Amy, stuck living with Brenda, resented both of us. But she didn't exactly push to move back in with her mom either. Everything between us was strained. Cracked. Awkward. Then, one morning, just after 7 a.m., came a loud, urgent knock at my front door. I stumbled out of bed, still half asleep, hair a mess, ready to cuss out whoever thought it was smart to wake me up that early. I yanked the door open. There they stood, Amy and Jennifer, side by side on my porch. Amy had tears in her eyes. Jennifer looked like hell. Pale. Worn. Hair unkempt. Eyes hollow. She couldn't even look at me. "Dad," Amy said, voice cracking. We need to talk." I frowned. "Seriously? It's barely daylight." "What now?" Jennifer's voice was shaky. "Let's just say, we're in trouble." I folded my arms and leaned against the doorway. "What kind of trouble? You pick up another boyfriend with a temper?" She swallowed. "Stephen's in jail. But I'm pregnant." That stopped me cold. "What?" I hissed, eyes darting to Amy. She gave a small, miserable nod, like it physically hurt her to confirm it. Pregnant? And you're sure it's Stephen's? Jennifer wiped at her damp eyes. I don't know, she admitted, voice cracking. That's the problem. It could be yours. My head spun. She looked down. You remember, that one night? A few months before it all fell apart. We were drunk, yeah. But I was also with Stephen around the same time. So. I don't know who the father is. The room tilted. We had had one awkward, alcohol-fueled night near the end. I never thought it meant anything, definitely didn't think it'd follow me to the doorstep months later. Anger twisted in my gut. So you show up here at 7 in the damn morning to tell me this? Amy stepped forward, grabbing my arm. Dad, please, she's scared. If Stephen finds out she's pregnant, it could get worse. He's unstable. She's terrified. Jennifer's eyes were rimmed red, her voice barely a whisper. I know I hurt you, Michael. I know. But I've got nowhere else to go. My parents cut me off after all this. I'm drowning in bills. Rent's overdue. The hospital stay wiped me out. I don't even know who fathered this baby, but if it is Stephen's, I can't let him near me or that child when he gets out. I tried to steady my breathing, but my voice still came out sharp. Not my problem. Maybe you should have thought of that before you climbed into bed with him. Amy gripped my arm tighter, tears spilling down her face. Please, Dad. I'm stuck at Grandma Brenda's, and it's been awful. I just want to feel safe again. I want to be home. I know I screwed up, but please, let us stay. She looked up at me, fingers trembling against my sleeve. Desperation poured from her eyes. Jennifer stood behind her, silent and wrecked. And yeah, something pulled at my chest. There was a time I loved that woman. And Amy, no matter what, was still my little girl. But I also remembered her turning on me in court, choosing Jennifer's side without hesitation. I remembered Jennifer humiliating me, letting Stephen help steal our life away. Now they were on the porch, ruined, asking for my help. What was I supposed to do? Fish them out of the water they'd jumped into? They waited, silent, breath held. The early morning light caught on Jennifer's tear-streaked cheeks. Amy trembled, eyes flicking between me and the open door behind me. Finally, I exhaled. What do you want me to say? Sure, come in, let's pretend we're one big happy family again. After the lies, the cheating, the way you both tore me down. Jennifer swallowed. I know there's no excuse. I swear I never thought it'd end like this. Stephen wasn't supposed to be dangerous. I thought I was chasing something better. A new wave of disgust surged in me. You don't even know who the father is. That's the kind of disaster you've become. Her face crumpled. Amy sobbed. You can hate us, Dad, she whispered, but if Mom's carrying your baby, that's still your kid. And even if she's not, I'm your daughter. We need you. My heart pounded like a war drum. I gripped the doorframe to keep myself grounded. I need time to think, I said, voice cold. Amy blinked, confused. What do you mean? Can't you just? I shook my head. No. I'm not rushing into another mistake. You think you can waltz back in and I'll just forget everything you did? That I'll throw open the door and say it's all fine now? It doesn't work that way. Her face crumpled. Jennifer's shoulders sagged. We have nowhere else to go, she said. Please, Michael. Then get a motel, I snapped. Call your friends. Ask your parents again. Not my problem. Not right now. Amy's voice cracked. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I'm begging you. If you don't help. I don't know what'll happen to us. She clutched my arm again, sobbing so hard she could barely form words. I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I'll never cross you again. Just don't shut us out. I looked down at her hands. My daughter. Scared. Shaking. She needed her dad. But then I remembered standing in that courtroom. Her saying I was never good enough for Jennifer. How she claimed Stephen was her mom's true love and I was just the fallback. That memory cut through every bit of sympathy like a scalpel. I pulled my arm free. Amy stumbled, tears still flowing. Jennifer stood behind her, helpless. I kept my voice even, sharp as a razor. I'm done playing the fool. You both wanted me out of your lives. Congratulations. You got your wish. Don't come knocking now like you deserve my sympathy. A split second of silence followed. Amy opened her mouth, but no words came. Jennifer dropped her gaze in shame. I gripped the door tighter. I said I need time to think. So go. Amy let out a broken sob. I'm so sorry, Dad, she whispered again. I didn't answer. I just shut the door. The deadbolt clicked like a gavel. Inside, my heart pounded so hard I felt it in my throat. Through the wood, I heard Amy crying, Jennifer trying to soothe her. Then the soft sound of footsteps leaving the porch. I leaned against the doorframe, eyes squeezed shut. Did I regret it? Sure. But they hadn't regretted a damn thing when they shattered me. Maybe that made me bitter. Maybe I was the villain now. Didn't matter. I'd been a fool once. Let them figure out survival on their own. Outside, I heard an engine turn over, maybe a taxi, maybe a ride from a friend. Either way, they were gone. I stared at the wood grain of the door for a long time, breathing deep, trying not to punch a hole in the wall. If Jennifer was carrying my child, what then? Would I go through all of this again? Or let it all burn? I didn't have the answer. All I knew was, I'd slammed the door shut. And for now, that was enough.